Hey, last video was cut off at the end, and it's talking about judging the flesh and how your flesh won't improve until the rapture, and that's gonna be none of your own doing. So don't have confidence in your flesh. And I was also talking about how our flesh gets puffed up and it tricks us into thinking that we're actually improving in our flesh. And I was starting to give examples, and then my phone was cut off. So let me give some examples in this kind of continuing thought. An example is like a fornicator who lived his entire adult life as a fornicator, and then he quits fornicating and then just looks down at everybody else, with disdain. Thinks every woman's like a whore and every guy's a whoremonger, and just is like on his high horse. And it's like, sure, he stopped fornicating, but now he's just super proud, and pride crucified Christ as well. So that's not your flesh being better, that's your flesh being puffed up. Or like when people, or instead of telling you the gospel, they want to tell you about the horrible life they used to live and how they don't do that anymore, and they just ramble on for like an hour about how they don't drink and smoke, and they don't chase women, and how they quit using the Lord's name in vain and all that. But look, that's not the gospel of Jesus Christ. I guess this is news to some people, but you actually don't have to be a Christian to quit smoking and to quit drinking, okay? Lots of people who aren't Christians don't do those things, and some of them have never done those things. So that's not the gospel. The gospel is Jesus Christ, okay? And how God is love, and because God is love, he died for your sins, okay? Because he was able to love the unlovable. And he loved you so much that God was manifest in the flesh, took upon himself a human body so that he could die. And he died for your sins, okay? And when he took on that human body, miraculously, he also did not cease to be God, okay? And so look, he died for the sins of man on that cross. He was buried and rose again on the third day for your justification. So look, you quitting smoking or chewing tobacco or something, that and just looking down at people who do that now, like that's not, look, if you call that a changed life, you're it, it, it's like going from bull crap to horse crap, okay? It's still crap. You know? Yeah, maybe it's slightly different, okay? But it's still crap. And, you know, you got to realize that that's all your life is without Christ. It's just a bunch of dung. And look, there is nothing, nothing, nothing good that dwells in your flesh. And God already judged your flesh, so, you need to judge your flesh now. You need to realize that, you know, without God, you could do nothing. And your flesh is the enemy of God. And hates that you've been reconciled to God through Christ because your flesh wants to enter in some other way. Your flesh wants to be acknowledged by God, but by the terms of your flesh and by the works of your deeds. Okay, that's how your flesh wants to be justified, but it's not possible to be justified by a filthy rag. Okay, you need Jesus Christ. Um, every Christian, I've talked about this in the previous video, every Christian, after they get saved, they start getting this zeal. And if they're not careful, knowledge puffeth up, but the zeal, it's in danger of not being according to knowledge. Okay? To actual wisdom and remembrance. Because look, don't put the gospel on the back burner. Okay? You're gonna act stupid. You're gonna say stupid things, and you're just gonna make a fool out of yourself if you think that the gospel is like, just standing water or something, or like, something to be moved on from. If you forget why the gospel is good news, then, it's like you've ceased to judge your flesh. And it's like your flesh is taken over, and the old man is back lurking. And he's getting real excited about all the crap he's going to pull. Parading around his filthy rag like a crazy person. The gospel is good news in part because it has nothing, like, like it doesn't have to do, like it doesn't see, like, the gospel doesn't cease to be good news based on how my flesh behaves. Okay, that's in part why it's good news. Okay, because if salvation had to do, or justification had to do with how your flesh behaves, that's not good news. Um, you know, would you tell a pig to stop being a pig? Okay. Would you tell uh, the ground to stop being on the ground? You know what I mean? Like, would you tell a duck to stop quacking? You know, your flesh is wicked. You can't tell your flesh to quit being wicked. It just is wicked. Okay, it's the nature of your flesh. And so don't trust it. Don't be manipulated by its flattery. You know, who cares if your flesh gets religious? It's you know it, because its religion is not Christ. You know, the Pharisees were very religious people, and they didn't want Christ. Right? Because they were enemies of God because they didn't have the Spirit. They were just following like the lusts of their flesh. And they got so lustful in their flesh that they actually wanted the kingdom, but without Christ. And there are even Christians now, I'm talking about saved people, that now it's like they want the kingdom, but they put Jesus on the back burner, and they think they could do things without him. Okay. And don't be so foolish. Anyways, I'm going to bed. I'm tired.